Hey everybody, welcome to Tantrum House Studio 3. I'm Jonah Dew, and today we're looking at Wingspan Asia. Folks, they've done it again. Let me sum up the video before we even get into it. Go get Wingspan Asia. Now, I'll tell you exactly why I'm saying this later on in the video, but I'm just trying to sum it up for you. Just in case you're like, should I or should I not? Okay, I believe Stonemaier Games did everything we asked for or could have possibly wanted with this expansion to the game. They've done three things that we're going to touch on in this video. First, they gave us 2 new player boards, so that way we can play Classic Wingspan with any expansions that you like with 6 or 7 players. They're going to call that Flock Mode. We'll get into that in just a second. Second, they gave us brand new Asian bird cards with just the same beautiful art as always. We've got the same designers and the same illustrators from all the other versions of Wingspan that you already know and love. So we've got brand new bird cards and brand new bonus cards that are in this game box. And the third thing, the creme de la creme of the whole game, is they gave us a 1 and 2 player standalone mode, game mode. That's going to be called Duet Mode, and that's what we're going to jump into first. The best thing about the 2-player standalone version of this game, which is called Duet Mode in the rules and the rule book, is that it is absolutely standalone. So just to be clear, what I'm saying is you can purchase Wingspan Asia by itself. You do not have to own the base game of Wingspan or any other expansions to be able to play the game. So in my opinion, I think Wingspan Asia just became the most popular Christmas present of 2022. Now, let me tell you why it's awesome. This is built for 2 players. Now, I might be a little biased because I actually play Wingspan 2 players a lot. Sometimes we play with the actual game and game board, and sometimes my wife and I like to play it digitally on our Nintendo, and we play with computer players or things like that. But what's different about Wingspan Asia is it actually brings Duet Mode, which has an entire duet map and duet tokens. So these tokens are black and white because those are the 2 new player colors, and they're like yin and yang symbols. That would be really cool if you ever put them together, but you don't really do that throughout the game. But that's neither here nor there. So what you actually do is place these duet tokens on each one of the 15 spaces where it's possible to play your bird throughout the game. And anytime that you do play a bird, you get to take your duet token and place it on the duet map. Now, it's really easy, the placement rules for doing so. If you play a bird in your wetlands habitat, then you have to place your duet token in the wetlands habitat. If you paid worms or fish for these birds, then your only options on where to place your token would be on a worm circle or a fish circle, right? Sometimes you can place your tokens based on the nest of the bird, or sometimes there are a few places that'll ask you if your bird's beak was facing to the right or facing to the left, or if the wingspan was over 50 or below 50, but those are the rules and placement requirements for those duet tokens. If you don't want to place those duet tokens on the board, there's actually a space in the lower left-hand corner of this board that'll allow you to place your duet token there, and at any time on any future turns throughout the entire game, you can spin that duet token to reset the bird feeder or reset the bird tray. So that's new resources or new bird cards. So it's really easy to use this feature of the game, and it adds a level of complexity to the game that's actually really interesting. At the end of the game, it adds one new scoring aspect as well, which is your largest contiguous group of duet tokens. So that's a way to get 5, 6, maybe 10, 11, up to 15 more points than your opponent, just depending on if you can string together your duet tokens in that way. The game also provides new bonus tiles that are Asian specific. So all of the Asian bonus tiles are going to be specific to the duet tokens, but of course you can use the other game's bonus tiles. Everything about this game is interchangeable with all of the other features of the game. The next thing we're going to talk about is Flock Mode. See, this is what they're calling the 6 and 7 player version of the game, and it's actually really unique because this game mode introduces simultaneous play. So here's how it works. You actually split your group into 3 and 3 or or 3 and 4, just depending. Now you're still playing the same game, but it's split in these two groups. The two groups differ because you're going to use the bird feeder from the base game for one group and the bird feeder tile in the game for the other group. And any cards or birds that you get that say use the bird feeder, it's actually only referring to your specific bird feeder. So your dice are going to be unique to your group. Your bird cards are going to be unique to your group. You are going to share the end of round goals. You're going to share the end of game bonus cards as well for the entire game. But there are some few things that are unique. So the introduction to simultaneous play works like this. You've actually got a dial that you're going to use to take turns, and you put it on your game board, and it's got two specific arrows that actually point to your player color. So the rule book actually says once you put that dial down and situate it, you might actually want to kind of match up where you're sitting based on where your player color is on the dial, which I kind of agree with in the time that I was able to play with 6 or 7 players. Then it's got two arrows pointing to two different player colors, and those are the two players who are going to take their turn simultaneously. Now the rules say you should let everyone know when you're done, and the other player let them know when you're done, and that way you can then rotate the dial and the next player takes their turn. So it is introducing simultaneous play, but only 2 at a time simultaneous play as you go. The reason that that's important is because, as you know, if you've played Wingspan before, there are some birds with pink powers on them, and those powers generally are once between turn powers. And so it's really important to still know whose turn it is, as you can still play and use those pink birds. So we don't want to throw those pink birds out for the rest of the game. So that's going to be flock mode inside of a 6 or 7 player Wingspan Asia expansion. And again, you can play that with any other game mode that you like. One thing that's unique about flock mode, if you're playing with 6 or 7, is if you're playing with the Oceania expansion. The Oceania expansion introduces the nectar. So the rules actually state that what you should do is you should take 2 of those nectar die and 3 normal die and split them into the 2 groups. That way you still have an ability to get nectar, but I would generally let you know that if you love Oceania and you love playing with the nectar, it might make a difference on how many birds you play or keep that have nectar costs associated with them, because you don't have all the nectar die available to you in your bird feeder. So as you can see, I've got my Wingspan boxes on the table here. And one of the things I wanted to touch on really quick is the nesting box that's supposed to be coming out from Stonemaier later this year or early in 2023. And the reason I want to touch on that is because obviously the nesting box is the big box version of Wingspan, which we're told will fit all the expansions. And I do have my European expansion in my base game right now, which I'm sure a lot of people other do, but these boxes are getting a little full as we continue playing, and putting everything back sometimes can be fun. So we're looking forward to that nesting box. Anyway, that is my 2 cents on Wingspan Asia. Again, in summary, it really is everything that we possibly could have asked for. I think that that duet mode, the standalone 2-player or 1-player version of the game, is really top notch. It's the classic Wingspan game you love. You've got new bonus cards, you've got new art and new birds, but you're also adding this duet map and tokens that allow for a little bit of complexity and another way to kind of get scoring on this board, and that really makes all the difference, especially when you're playing with 2 players. One of the other things I loved about the duet map is there are some spaces that give bonuses. How often in a game of Wingspan you're like, man, I really want to do this card, but I'm 1 egg away, or I don't want to go draw bird cards because I'm only drawing 1 and I need to play this card so I could draw more than 1. Oh my goodness. And the duet board actually gives you a little bit of those bonuses, so you can use that sort of stuff throughout the game, and it goes a little faster. You can play more cards, you can do more throughout your turn. So I think they've done it extremely well. I kid you not, I would be very surprised if this is not one of the most purchased things for Christmas, because you can introduce someone to it so easy. Not only that, to prove my point even more, the game introduces like cheat sheets for the first time player, which literally spell out each of your first 5 turns. Literally spells it out. If you're new to Wingspan, here's what you should do on your first 5 turns, so that way you can get the game going and get the hang of it. And so for me, it's like this might become the new gateway game of the future. This is just everything we could have asked for. It's a great 2-player version. If you already love Wingspan, you're definitely going to want the extra bird cards and the new player tokens so you can play more players. It's awesome. Man, they did it again. They did it again, folks. Anyway, if you're interested in watching more of our videos here at Tantrum House, or if you've got comments, then leave them below. You can like the video, you can subscribe. We'll talk to you guys next time when we've got another game to show you on our channel.